Welcome to the Empowering Choices Parenting Podcast. My name is Joshua.
I'm Erik.
Hi, I'm Lucas.
Erik and Lucas are licensed professional counselors. We have created an online community with a website and an app full of parenting resources and courses. Most importantly, all of this is centered around a private community where you can share your struggles with us and others. If you are interested in joining, please check out our website at empoweringchoices.community or search for our app in the App Store by searching Empowering Choices. For a small monthly fee, you receive everything I talked about and you help support the show. Plus, every time someone purchases a membership, we gift a membership on your behalf to someone who otherwise could not afford it. All right, now on with today's show. Today, we're going to continue this discussion about just how much hard work parenting is.
So we've delivered the message that parenting is a giant pile of hard work, and we've hopefully begun to deliver some hope. And then, Erik, you said something about a bug. Why are we talking about bugs?
Yeah, that was in our pre-discussion here.
So now you're going to have to fill in the audience because I just opened that can of worms.
You kind of did, after making fun of me for using the bug analogy.
All right, so why were we talking about bugs?
Okay, so we're talking about how nobody has a greater influence on your child or in your child's life than you do. That it's, we're kind of going back to the blood bond. And so the reference to the bug is kind of this podcast is a lot like, because we mentioned the blood bond in, the other two podcasts, but in this podcast, it's like the difference between seeing a ladybug, there on the leaf and then taking the ladybug and putting it under the microscope and really seeing greater detail than what the naked eye could see without the magnification. The blood bond is a huge natural, I'm going to call it energy force. It's a genetic force, a genetic connection between you and your child. Half of mom, half of dad came together, made this creature, and it looks to you as its mom and dad to guide it, lead it, help it, parent it, nurture it, love it, train it, bring it up. And that's an influence that really nobody else is going to have that kind of an equal influence than you do, because it's already predisposed to having those types of influences upon itself by just looking at you as mom or dad. I remember when I was in grade school and we would be laying with our backs on the lawn in a warm summer day, and whatever the topic was, it suddenly came up to whose dad is toughest. And
that's a real conversation that boys have, for sure.
Right. Andy's dad was an architect. Brad's dad, I don't even remember what Brad's dad was. And my dad was a soil scientist, and it was like my
dad's got a big truck.
Exactly. Yeah. And everybody has a different piece about whose dad can beat up who for whatever reason.
But none of your dads were Marines, so it was the architect versus the soil scientist.
Exactly. And then the other dad, who I still can't remember what he does, and so it was all of this mix. The only part it got awkward is when our dads came and we were already so heated. We were like, see, show him, Dad.
punch him.
I just said you could take out him and his entire family. Brad, go get your family.
Brad, go get your family. And your dads are looking at each other going, the hell?
Right. But that's a part of that influence, is that we're just naturally, looking up to our parent and looking towards our parent as you're my guidance, you're my protection, from this world and in this world. I remember the first time, there was only 2 times that this happened, but the first time that the electricity in our house went off for the weekend.
And this wasn't a power outage?
Wasn't a power outage.
I mean, it was, but...
It was.
Very localized.
It was a very single home to the block power outage. My dad kind of spent a little too much money on whatever he was doing and didn't have enough for the electricity bill, and my mom was not happy. And it's like I can remember thinking and feeling, oh my gosh, my dad's not God. You know,
Because that was the default assumption.
yeah, is that he just made the lights come on, you know, and he kind of did, but he kind of didn't, you know, and so the limitations came into my mind as to, you know, the reality of, you know, my father as a human being. And that's where we're geared as parents, to where our kids, you know, are going to just naturally look at us, and the guidance that is given to us, the ability to influence them. 10-15 years ago, they had research that showed most influential people in a child's life, parents was number one. Mm-hmm. Teachers, number two. Coaches, number three. And then youth pastors, youth workers, number four. You know, and so there is this. There's plenty of people that are willing to and able to step in and be able to fill that void, because that's the thing I really want to convey to parents, is that it's a void.
If as a parent you are not filling it, right, there will be a void.
There will be a void. No. And the child won't just sit there and just, you know, be like, anybody want to take this? You know, anybody want to help me? Anybody want to lead me? You know, anybody want to show that you care about me and that I matter? No, they're going to be like actively, usually acting out with those same messages underneath.
In a subconscious way that they're probably not fully aware of.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. You know, and they're looking for someone to be able to come by and say, yeah, I'm going to be here in your corner. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to be here for you, and I am going to be the one that will, you know, stand in there for you and guide you and lead you and nurture you. And we leave that void as parents if we're not the ones who are taking on that relationship.
And so what you're saying then is that this is a benefit for a parent, in that this is a void that is in a child's life, mm-hmm, and you can step into it and mm-hmm, be powerful and influential and helpful and guiding and building and nurturing and all of these things. So you as a parent who is there and involved and mm-hmm, wants to be involved, have an open door mm-hmm, that you'll just, you know, fit right into, mm-hmm, that you can, you know, because our intro was parenting is a giant pain in the butt. However, this is going to give you a leg up on all of those challenges, because there's a natural fit between parent and child in that. Huge leg up. My dad played 6 games with me when I was a child. Don't know who won, don't know who lost, doesn't matter. That was a part of what I really enjoyed doing, you know, with my parents, was being able to play games. My mom would play games all the time, but my dad, he just was not a game person. It was not something that he wanted to do, saw himself doing, and just didn't do. And he was quite a busy man. At home or at work, it didn't matter. He was always doing something. He was always busy. And I totally get that, and I don't fault him for that. When he wanted to teach me something, like the Saturday when he said, you're going to come out here and you're going to, you know, help me do the lawnmower, and you're going to learn how to do this. You know, and I think I mentioned this in the last podcast. My brain went, you're wasting my Saturday. I'm not going to learn anything. Had he put the time in, had he played the games, had he done the things that I enjoyed, which is tapping into that genetic bond, I would have been like, see you guys, peace. I'm gonna be out here working with my dad on the lawnmower. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll see you guys at school. You know, I would have willingly been there right by his side. So as you talk about the void that you had, your dad did not fill it sufficiently, completely, entirely, whatever mm-hmm, word you want to use there.
I learned much later on in life, well, not that far, but it was in junior high. when my parents got a divorce, that my dad made the statement, hey, don't you want to come over and live with me? You've now gotten to the place where you're fun.
Oh, and so he was like, all right, now it's time for me to be engaged in your life. And he was unaware that train had mostly left the station.
And that's by his doing. He didn't see kids as fun. And so, that made a lot of sense. Well, that's why you would never do what I was asking you to do. That's why you never, wanted to spend any time in the game realm. That's why you drugged me around with all of these things that were just a waste of my playtime. No, you didn't put it in then. There's no way you're going to get anything of that now, is what I was thinking. As
in a relationship, it has to be reciprocal.
Well, and it needed to be, the dividends had to be paid earlier.
I don't know if that's the right financial term, but that the investment had to be put in earlier?
And we can switch it to that, because the dividends coming out would have been, yeah, exactly. And so that's the piece, is that he didn't want to make that investment. And if you're a parent that, has that type of a situation, it doesn't mean that it's done for you, but it does mean that it's going to be harder to put that investment in. You got to learn, what is my kid like? What do they want to do? How can I be able to connect with them, in that situation in their life, before they're really going to, be fully bonded into the relationship.
Well, and really using that investment metaphor, as anyone who knows anything about investing, they'll tell you, invest early because the interest is going to accrue. And no matter, like, a person who invests 10 years earlier is going to have a huge leg up over a person who starts 10 years later, because no matter how much money that person later throws in as principal, they've lost that leg up from the interest that was just naturally building from that person who started earlier. And that's what you're saying, is like, get started early, start sinking money, time, energy, effort into this relationship, because it will pay off in interest. I mean, my metaphor falls apart slightly.
For the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It'll pay off for the rest of your life. You want to have a good relationship with your child through their adulthood, invest early.
From the beginning.
From the beginning, they come home, play with them, hold them, be a part of taking care of them, bond with them. If you don't see, like my dad, if you don't see kids or babies as being interesting or fun, learn how to do that.
Right, because you might not want to.
Right. Well, and just do it, because eventually some of those things will become fun. You will learn new things about what fun is, and look at any type of a situation where we've gotten into a new hobby, a new interest, a new anything, and it didn't seem fun at first, but the more you got into it, well, oh my gosh, now it's a blast. I love this thing. It's great.
You've been listening to the Empowering Choices Parenting Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, we would encourage you to visit our website at empoweringchoices.community. For a small monthly fee, we offer a website full of parenting courses and resources. You also have the ability to connect with parents going through the same struggles you are in a safe and private environment. Every time you purchase a membership to our site, we give away a membership to a parent in financial need. Help yourself become a better parent while helping others gain access to important parenting materials by supporting our podcast. Check us out at empoweringchoices.community or in the App Store by searching Empowering Choices. We'll see you on our next episode.